Okay, so for tonight's lesson, we want to focus a little bit more on algebraic expressions and when to use those parentheses and when not to use them. That seems to be kind of the hardest part. So let's look at another example. If we look at number 7 here, it says 2, and so it's good to sort of write these as you go. And then we know more than means to add, so we'll do plus 3, and then we have times a number y. Okay, so we can kind of put those together. 2 more than 3 times a number y, and so we can put times y there, or just go ahead and just put 3y. Really, when there's no sign, that means multiplication, and that's how you'll see it most of the times. 2 more than 3 times the number y. And so again, that one's just very straightforward. And then we want to pick out which one of these match. Okay. Obviously, it's not this one. That's 2 times 3 times the number y. This is 6 times the sum, x plus 2y. 6 times the sum, plus y plus 2, and then times y. And then 3 times y plus 2. So obviously this is the right answer here. Hooray! Yay! Remember yesterday we talked about the commutative property, where when you have addition, it doesn't matter if we write 3y plus 2 or 2 plus 3y, just as it doesn't matter if we do 5 plus 2 or 2 plus 5. That's the commutative property, and the order of it will not affect its outcome or its solution. All right, so I'm trying to get better and move this up so you can, my head doesn't get in the way. This one says 6 times the sum. Now that word sum is kind of giving us a key, because the sum means the answer of a problem. So it says 6 times the sum of a number and y. So we have the sum of y and 2. And when you're saying sum, you're talking about the answer of this. Okay? So we want to make sure we put the parentheses around it so that this part is done first and we get that answer. So it says 6 times the sum. So we want 6 times the answer of y and 2 times another number x. So we've got this x. Okay? So it's 2 times x. So we have 6 times the answer of y plus 2x is what we're getting here. And you can kind of just break this into a separate one. Y, and that word and means plus, 2 times another number x. Okay, so sum is the key word that tells you you're going to need parentheses in this. Okay, so I could see you could have gone 2 ways on this. There's 2 answers that are close. This one has x in the parentheses. This one has x outside of the parentheses. If it was outside the parentheses, we would want to say the sum of y and 2x, and then you would say 6 times another number. That x should have been up here with this part of the problem, if that's the way the equation should have looked. And if we click on that, we know that's not right. So if we look over here, this matches our question here. Okay, and again, this could be written 2x plus y with the commutative property. Okay, all right, so let's go ahead and look down to the last part here. This says 3 times the difference. Again, difference is the answer to a subtraction problem. So really the word difference is telling me I'm going to need parentheses, because it's 3 times the answer of 6 and the number y. Okay, so we have 3 times the difference of 6 and the number y. So it should look like this. Okay, and again, subtraction does not follow the commutative property. If I have 3 minus 2, let's do a little sidebar lesson here. 3 minus 2, that's going to give me 1. But if I do 2 minus 3, that's going to give me a negative 1. So the order is important here. So here I have x 3 times 6 minus y, and here I have 3 times y minus 6. So 1 is the right answer. If we had switched these around, we would have gotten an uh-oh. But since we did it correctly in the right order, we're going to get a hooray! All right, let's look at a couple other examples here. Again, I really want to focus on when you use parentheses and when you don't. And looking at these possible examples, some of these don't necessarily need it. Like here, this is 2, and this is times m times n. So this one could have easily just written 2mn. These parentheses here are not important, okay? But if you look at like the parentheses here, we're cubing the answer here. Therefore, that is an important part, okay? So let's just do a couple practice problems. Some of these are pretty easy. So if we look at this one, the cube of the sum, and again, sum is going to be our big answer. And so the sum is our indicator that we're going to need parentheses because we want to cube the answer of m and n. So that should be m plus n. And then we want to cube the answer of that, okay? You cannot just do this, m plus n to the third. And I saw a lot of this type of thing in your pre-assessments. If you were to read this, this would say m plus n squared. And this says the sum of n plus n squared, okay? It's the difference of having, if I told you m was 2, and I told you n equaled 3, we'll just go easy. And now we're going to plug it into each one of these answers. If I use this one, I said m was 3. Oops, I said m was 2. Sorry, oops. All over the place here. Hold on. Let's try that again. Okay, so if I replace this m with 3 and this n with 2, I do the parentheses first. So that would give me 5 to the third power. 3 plus 2 is 5. So that gives me 5 to the third power, which is 5 times 5 times 5, which I'm pretty sure is 125. In this case, we would replace the m with 2, and then we replace the n with 3, and then that n is to the third power. So that goes 3 to the third. So this becomes 2 plus 3 to the third power is 3 times 3 times 3. So 3 times 3 is 9. 9 times 3 is 27. So 3 to the third power is 27. And then we get an answer of 29. So you can see if we write it this way, we get an answer of 125. If we write it this way, we get an answer of 29. So clearly, it makes a difference which way you do write it, okay? So when you think about it, most of the time, when you see answer vocabulary, such as we just saw earlier, sum, difference, those are keywords. Multiplication, you should know that's product. Okay, so that tells you that's an answer to the multiplication word. And then for division, we have quotient. So if it says 3 times the quotient of n divided by 2, you would need parentheses around n divided by 2. Or they might just say, as we see in our classroom activity, they might just say the result or the solution of. So when you say like 3 times the result of m and n, you would know n plus n needs the parentheses, okay? So those are the key things we really want to look for. We want to look for solution vocabulary, and that solution vocabulary is going to tell me that I need a parenthesis. So what I would like for you to do for the rest of tonight is pause the video and go ahead and complete 20 through 25 and come in with those 6 problems completed. And we'll see you in the morning.